Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have a very, very special guest here for the show today. Can you go ahead and announce to the world who you are and where you're calling from?
My name's Liz Pomeroy, and I have a project called oh-Stella, and I am sitting in Bentley, Alberta, in my car in Canada.
Great. Can you tell me a little bit about your past leading up into your present?
Yeah, I grew up in Ireland and moved to Canada around 2008, 2009. Deliberately to do music. I'd been in a band that was signed to a label previously in Ireland and wanted to come over here and had a great opportunity to work with somebody. And I've been here ever since, and I've been in various bands, played South by Southwest down in Austin, Texas and things. 2018, I went solo as oh-Stella, and now I make alternative rock Irish fusion, very influenced by Garbage, one of my biggest loves, PJ Harvey, St. Vincent, and The Frames, who are a band from Ireland. They're quite similar to the Waterboys. People tend to know them more. It's rock and roll with a fiddle, so I use rock and roll, fiddle, and a bodhrán.
Can I ask you something? Do you know a little bit about Empire of the Sun or MGMT, by the way? If not,
No,
it's
not a huge amount, no.
it's okay. Okay, so tell me what's the difference between Irish and the music that you put out versus mainstream American music? Do you know the difference?
Well, the main difference would be the feature of having a fiddle on it. But then, yeah, in terms of mainstream American, obviously you have like blues and bluegrass, not blues, but bluegrass and country, which would also feature fiddle on your music. But Irish is a different way of playing, and we have jigs and reels and that type of thing. So while I don't play anything particularly traditional, it informs how I arrange my tunes, and also the subject matter. I talk a good bit about things that affected me in my life, and in yeah, just interestingly, as I've started talking about those, like I have a song called Linen about the Magdalene laundries in Ireland, and by playing that, I got the opportunity to talk to a lot of Indigenous people in Canada who had a very similar experience with the residential schools here. So it's a really good vehicle for being able to instigate or bring about really meaningful conversation and get to know people in my community and my audience on a much deeper level.
Are you on YouTube or Spotify so we can hear one of your songs?
Yep. Yeah, I'm everywhere.
Great. Let me look you up real quick. And while I'm looking you up, tell me about the picture that I posted of your banner of you with the necklace on. I asked you about it before the show, but tell me what the meaning behind, because every artist has a meaning behind what they portray as symbolic meaning in a great way. So tell me about that.
Well, the photograph is the album cover of Skyward. In 2021, I made an album called Pendulum State, and that is a concept record talking about the swing back and forth between highs and lows during addictions recovery. I had received a phone call from a family friend in the middle of 2020 saying that they had just suffered a serious relapse of their addictions, and I was struggling with my own as well. And
Yeah.
so I started writing a song a day for this person in exchange for them phoning me every day to let me know that they were safe and well. So that made up 50% of the record. And so I deliberately decided to split it in two, because everything on the record is sonically and thematically designed to sound like it's a pendulum swinging back and forth. So
I
there's
love
quiet
it.
songs. So there's
What is
there's
the
quiet
song?
songs and there's loud, angry songs.
What is the
So when
song?
I
Yeah, go ahead.
when I made the decision to split the record in two, the
Yes.
first record that came out in 2022, which I toured and promoted on my bicycle across Canada. It was called Freefall. So that's the first half of the movement of a pendulum. And then the second one that came out last year was Skyward, that swings back up. So everything on the record is about light to dark, light to dark. So in terms of my outfits on both records, I really wanted one to look quite dark, like a fall from grace, and then the other one to represent hope and new beginnings and spring and that type of thing. So I took a lot of influence from Imbolc and a couple of the ancient Irish gods and goddesses. And so in that that whole photo shoot, I wanted something that was like light and flowy in the white dress and curly hair to contrast with the jagged edges of the other photograph. And the necklace, I was really looking for something that kind of harkened back to the Celtic Bronze Age. There was a lot of torques, gold torques that people would wear. And I went on Etsy trying to find something similar, and I stumbled across this necklace that isn't quite a torque, but it had leanings towards that way and like ancient Greek and Roman stuff. And yeah, a lot of people say it looks kind of Egyptian too, but I loved that kind of ethereal look, like it's some kind of goddess from some culture that has that kind of this kind of ethereal look.
Great. Let's hear your song real quick. I have to. I want to hear what your sound is. Hold on.
What they want about me.
Already, I love it.
I'm high with an empty head. Those black dogs I thought long ago had left well in the past, waking up and dragging me down fast. And even though I love them so, I keep breaking their heart.
Okay, I play too much, they're gonna cancel me. So anyway, it's excellent. It is excellent. Tell me, like, what do you, if you had to give a piece of advice out there to someone who want to gain a fan base like you have over the course of 2 decades and sit up there and become a musician, what would you do? How would you do it? For like, what would they do? How would they do it? Sorry.
I would say just start getting to know people in your community. I really love collaborating with people, and that's always moved me along the fastest and gotten me out of my personal roadblocks of, obstacles you hit against the skills that you have in your musicianship, any kind of technological roadblocks you might have if you're producing. And things are just better in a team. And then songwriting as well, if you're feeling blocked that way. And then beyond that, then I would say just stop waiting for permission. No one's going to give it to you. And don't take what gatekeepers say seriously. Go to them, ask them questions, and then find your own way around it. If what they're proposing seems a little too, you can only do it if you're in our club kind of vibe. So I really like understanding the landscape of the industry that I'm in, and then finding my own way of doing things. So I'm not a great one for following rules.
Okay. And where do you see yourself going in the future?
Well, I'm definitely going to be doing more tours of Europe. I just got back from a tour in Europe with my fiddle player. And there's going to be a solo cycling tour across Ontario this September in Canada. I'd really love to start playing down in the States. In fact, there's a couple of radio stations that have started playing me down there. So my goal is to get down there and play and get back to the West Coast, the East Coast. I want to get back to Austin. And then I'll have another record out next year as well. So for the time being, just make records and tour them is where I get most joy.
Is this your sophomore album or senior album? As oh-Stella.
I suppose it's sophomore. Well, this is the debut album that's coming out this summer, but the one I'm currently making in the studio at the moment that won't be out until next year will be the sophomore.
You stay in the studio. How do you do that? How do you just say, like, how does it work? You just go to the studio from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Like, how do you do it?
That would be crazy expensive. No, previously, before lockdown, you would rehearse your band. Like, as an artist, I would write the songs for months before the studio would ever happen. And then I would decide on which ones were the strongest, rehearse a band, do pre-production with a producer, and then go in for a week and record all of the instruments. But then Pendulum State, that's coming out this year, I recorded during 2021 in the middle of lockdown, and my producer was in Toronto. I was in Edmonton, and they're about 5,000 kilometers from each other. So we were doing everything virtually. So I was able to record voice in my studio in Edmonton, and Devin Lougheed did everything in his studios in Super Bon Bon Sound in Toronto. So this record that I'm making currently, that will come out next year, is a mix of the two. My producer, Brad Simons, is the same guy I worked with on my debut EP, and he's now based in Kelowna, which is another 2,000 kilometers from here. So we do a lot of virtual studio sessions together to songwrite together, and then when we get closer to the time, we'll probably book some studio time and go in and lay down drums and bass, and I can do voice from my home studio.
How is your music different than other people's music in the mainstream American setting?
Well, my music has bodhrán and fiddle on it. So bodhrán is an Irish handheld drum, and fiddle is quite different from bluesgrass fiddle, for instance. So those two sounds in and of themselves would distinguish me from a lot of the mainstream stuff. And the kind of music I make tends to be very upbeat, and sometimes kind of protest based, or just rebellion based, kind of. So that doesn't often show up in mainstream stuff if you're talking, adult contemporary top 40. So yeah, and I talk about a lot of things from like experiences I've had growing up in Ireland, obviously, which is completely different from America. So all those things inform my music to sound different from everybody else, I would say. But I still have a lot of influence from like Paramore, Garbage, the Waterboys, that kind of stuff.
Well said. Do you think that your music is going to evolve into something, an instrument that's more, because both instruments you speak of, one off screen you said it was country, and another one was, I think you just said it was Australian, drum, or Irish drum.
The drum is Irish. And
yeah, so
the fiddle you often find in country music, but it's also used in Irish music.
Well said. So what I wanted to know was when it's not if, I heard your music, when you come back to the United States and you start to evolve, and I wanted to know, would you try something newer instead of old school, which your music is newer school, but you use old school, well, that's not a word, old school instruments. And what I'm saying is, mainstream media or mainstream music is now using electro music. You know what I mean? Like electro, they're using techno type music and manipulating their voice using, voice,
like
something, huh?
Auto-tune.
Yeah. So I was wanting to know, would you be willing to do that also to help bring a more larger audience to your genre?
I will never make auto-tune
I like that though.
a stylistic feature, because that's not something that resonates with me. But I use all of those components that you've described in my music already.
Really?
And that's how my music is different from everything else. It's using that new stuff and it's combining it with old stuff. If I was to not do the old stuff anymore, then I wouldn't be having as much fun. So I'll probably keep
I
using
like
the bodhrán
that.
and fiddle.
I like that answer. And what audience are you trying to target? Are you trying to target and bring like African American? Because I listen to everything. I listen from the darkest music to the brightest music. Like what I mean by that is contemporary. I listen to rap. I listen to R&B. I listen to pop like Lady Gaga. Everybody know who Lady Gaga is. I listen to a new lady. I forgot her name, but I know her. She's pop, and I listen to all types of music, even MGMT and other music. So, what I wanted to know, who is your target audience, and what are you trying to bring for them to listen to? What would they get out of it?
My target audience is anyone that enjoys uplifting music that challenges the status quo. And I think that transcends every genre, every creed, every color. So if that's what you dig, I'm here for it. I'm thrilled to meet you. So yeah.
Thank you so much. If you had to give any more words of wisdom, last question. If you had to give any more words of wisdom, what would they be in under 2 minutes?
Well, the zero in my name stands for zero waste. And as I cycled across Canada in 2022, cycling to help promote sustainability, I discovered that there was so much division in Canada over everything that had just happened. It occurred to me that zero is also the middle point of the XY axis. It's very nerdy, but in the same way, the zero for zero waste reminds me daily in my name to try and live in as a holistic way as possible. It also now reminds me that the center is where you need to aim for as much as possible to maintain as much empathy for everyone that you meet in your day, and to try and find the middle of every argument. And I think that's what's missing at the moment, and at the most in our world at the moment is a lack of middle ground. So I would say, yeah, if you can just remember that every person is a reflection of yourself, just having been born in a different set of circumstances, and they are reacting to the hands that they've been dealt in the way that they know how, then hopefully that'll grant a little bit more empathy and compassion about how you go about your day and interact with the other humans on the planet.
Well said. Oh my God, Goddess, well said. You stay on the line. You guys take care and definitely get her CD. What is your CD called, by the way, or your EP, or however you say it? I'm not familiar with music EPs and all that.
So the album out at the moment that you can get everywhere on Spotify and physical versions of is called Skyward. That came out last year, and you can right now pre-order Pendulum State, which is the combination. It's the concept album with both Freefall, Skyward, and a bonus track on it as well to link the entire story together on gold vinyl. So you can go to oh-Stella.com, that's 0Stella.com, to pre-order that now.
Thank you guys for joining my show. Thank you so much, oh-Stella. Stay on the line and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Bye.